Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the bone-chilling origins of some of the most iconic horror movie villains. These backstories are sure to send shivers down your spine. Get ready for twisted tales of childhood trauma, brutal revenge, and supernatural forces that go bump in the night. So grab your popcorn, turn off the lights, and let's dissect the dark beginnings of these terrifying figures. Just remember, you might want to leave the lights on tonight. Freddy freaking Krueger. The name alone is enough to make you want to stay awake forever. But before he was the razor-gloved dream stalker, Freddy was born into a nightmare of his own. Freddy was the product of a brutal assault his mother and nun preyed upon by the criminally insane. Growing up, Freddy was tormented, bullied, and rejected, the darkness within him festering like an open wound. He found solace, or rather, unleashed his twisted desires as the Springwood slasher, preying on the innocent, the most vulnerable children. The parents of Springwood, consumed by grief and rage, decided to take justice into their own hands. They cornered Freddy, doused him in gasoline, and burned him alive. You'd think that would be the end, right? Wrong. Freddy was reborn through the flames, fueled by vengeance and the souls of his victims. Now he stalks the children of Springwood in their dreams, a place where he is all-powerful, a terrifying reminder that some evils never truly die. Hidden deep in the woods lies Camp Crystal Lake, a place synonymous with summer fun, but forever stained by tragedy. It's the stomping ground of our next horror-heavy hitter, Jason Voorhees. Jason wasn't born a monster, he was just a boy born with severe deformities that made him an outcast, an easy target for the cruel taunts of other kids. He just wanted to belong, to be accepted. But those hopes were tragically drowned in the murky waters of Crystal Lake. The camp counselors, more interested in partying than in protecting the campers, failed to notice young Jason struggling in the lake. He drowned, alone and forgotten. His death was a preventable tragedy, and it ignited a mother's wrath. Pamela Voorhees, driven mad by grief and consumed by vengeance, sought to make the counselors pay for their negligence, but her reign of terror was cut short, or so they thought. Jason rose from the watery depths, driven by a primal rage, a protector of Crystal Lake twisted into its vengeful guardian. Some evils are born, some are made, and then there's Michael Myers, pure, unadulterated evil in human form. It all began on a cold Halloween night in 1963. Picture this. A 6-year-old boy, emotionless, blank-eyed, brutally murders his own sister. What drives a child to such an act? We don't know, and that's what makes Michael so damn terrifying. Locked away for 15 years, Michael's evil festered, growing stronger in the shadows. Then, on a stormy Halloween night, he escaped, returning to his hometown of Haddonfield, ready to unleash hell. What sets Michael apart is his simplicity. He's not driven by revenge, by a tragic past, or by some grand scheme. He walks with an unstoppable determination, his expression hidden behind that chilling, emotionless William Shatner mask. He is the boogeyman come to life, the embodiment of pure primal terror. Chapter 4. Leatherface. The Soares family. Deep in the heart of Texas, far from the bright lights and bustling cities, lies a darkness so profound, so deeply unsettling, that it chills you to the bone. This is the story of Leatherface. Leatherface wasn't born a monster. He was created, molded by a family more twisted and depraved than any creature of fiction. Imagine growing up in a dilapidated house, the air thick with the stench of decay and the screams of the unfortunate souls who stumbled upon your doorstep, subjected to unimaginable abuse and forced to participate in unspeakable acts. His humanity was stripped away, replaced with a childlike obedience to his cannibalistic family. He wears masks stitched from the faces of his victims, a grotesque attempt to hide from the world, to disappear into the persona they created for him. Inspired by the real-life horrors of Ed Gein, Leatherface is a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create. Pennywise, when clowns stop being funny. He's not just a clown. He's an entity, an ancient evil, older than time itself, lurking in the shadows, preying on our deepest fears. This is Pennywise, the dancing clown. Imagine a being so powerful, so ancient, that its true form is beyond human comprehension. It slumbers beneath the town of Derry, Maine, awakening every 27 years to feast on the fear of children. Why children? Because their fears are pure, raw, and easily manipulated. And how does this cosmic horror lure its victims? By taking the form of their deepest fears, often appearing as Pennywise, the wisecracking, balloon-wielding clown. Pennywise is the embodiment of childhood nightmares made flesh. His origins are shrouded in mystery, his power seemingly limitless. Chapter 6, Chucky. He's your friend till the end, especially the end of your life. He's small, he's unassuming, he's got a creepy little laugh that sends chills down your spine. He's Chucky, everyone's favorite killer doll. But before he was possessed plastic, he was Charles Lee Ray, the Lakeshore Strangler. Charles was a notorious serial killer, leaving a trail of blood and terror in his wake. But even the most ruthless killers meet their match. Cornered and facing certain death, Charles turned to the dark arts, specifically a voodoo ritual to cheat death. His soul needed a vessel, something innocent-looking, something no one would suspect. Enter the good guy doll, a harmless children's toy, the perfect disguise for a cold-blooded killer. Trapped in his plastic prison, Chucky continues his reign of terror, his small size making him even more dangerous, more unpredictable. He's a reminder that evil can lurk in the most unassuming places. Chapter 7, Ghostface, Behind the Mask. Fear takes many forms. The mask, it's iconic, it's haunting, it's the face of pure terror. But unlike other villains on our list, Ghostface isn't one person, but a mantle worn by different killers with their own twisted motives. Inspired by the slasher films that came before, Ghostface is a meta-commentary on the genre itself, a reflection of our fascination with fear and violence. Each killer adopts the Ghostface persona, hiding their true identity behind the mask. Some seek revenge, fueled by past betrayals or a thirst for blood. Others crave fame, their desire for notoriety outweighing any sense of morality. Each Ghostface killer brings their own twisted history to the role, making them unpredictable and dangerous. The Ghostface mask itself is unsettling, a pale, distorted scream frozen in time. It's a symbol of fear, a blank canvas onto which we project our anxieties. And that's the true terror of Ghostface. Anyone could be under the mask. Chapter 8, Jigsaw, the game master of twisted morality. Jigsaw. The name alone conjures images of macabre games, gruesome traps, and a twisted sense of justice. But behind the puppet and the deadly puzzles is John Kramer, a man driven to extremes by tragedy and despair. John wasn't always a sadistic mastermind. He was a successful engineer, a husband, a man who seemingly had it all. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. Diagnosed with inoperable cancer, John's world crumbled around him. He attempted suicide, a desperate act to control his own destiny. But he survived, and with his survival came a twisted epiphany. He believed that people didn't appreciate their lives, that they took their existence for granted. John became Jigsaw, a self-righteous judge, jury, and executioner, forcing his victims to confront their own mortality through elaborate, deadly games. Chapter 9, the Xenomorph, the stuff of nightmares, literally. In the vastness of space, no one can hear you scream, especially when the source of your terror is the Xenomorph, the perfect organism, a bioweapon designed for one purpose: to kill. This nightmare-inducing creature didn't evolve naturally. It was engineered by an advanced alien race known as the Engineers. The Xenomorphs were designed as weapons, as tools of destruction. Their life cycle is the stuff of nightmares. It begins with the facehugger, a parasitic creature that latches onto its host's face, implanting an embryo. The embryo then bursts violently from the host's chest, growing rapidly into the terrifying Xenomorph. Chapter 10, the Babadook, when grief becomes a monster. He's lurking in the shadows, a creature born from grief and despair, a manifestation of our deepest fears. This is the Babadook, and he's already in your house. The Babadook isn't your typical slasher villain. He emerges from the pages of a children's pop-up book, a creepy tale that foreshadows the terror to come. But the book is just a conduit, a way for the Babadook to worm his way into the minds of the vulnerable. The story centers on a widowed mother struggling to cope with the loss of her husband while raising her troubled son. Their grief, their inability to confront their trauma, creates a void, a space for the Babadook to take root. He feeds on their fear. their sadness, growing stronger with every whispered rhyme, every shadow that flickers in the corner of their eyes. So, there you have it, 10 terrifying tales of horror's most iconic villains. We've delved into their twisted pasts, their motivations, and the events that shaped them into the monsters we know and fear. Which of these villains sends shivers down your spine? Share your thoughts in the comments below, or let us know which terrifying figure you'd like us to explore next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling content. And remember, the next time you hear a bump in the night, it might just be one of these horror